Hey, Joe. Hello, Catherine, Jack, and James. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hold on just a second. We've got a service guy coming in to work on our laundry, which is on the fritz. So I'm sorry. Give me just a second.
We start with a stick warm up or something?
Light in there?
Oh.
Not great, but it's there. All right.
Oh.
Okay, Annie is handling them. Okay, we've got pretty much the whole crew here, so very good. Today we're going to go on and include three new moves. Wind swings the willows, collect chi to the origin, and heaven and earth open and close. Let's go ahead and do those three first, and then we'll go through the whole series. So we will have 12 moves of the 18 that we're going to look at. And well, let's just go ahead and do that. All right, so wind swings willow, right? It's a very, very kind of simple move. Just start moving your weight back and forth. And let your arms swing. Okay, this move is interesting to me because it's actually uh, from another series that runs parallel to this one. It's a series about just loosening up the body, all right? So loosening up the joints. When you do it that way, it looks like this. And there's a whole series of exercises that are about that. So to me, this really shows how all these different routines leak into each other all the time. This FANG GONG series we're going through, 18 moves, that is really true. Some of the moves to me seem very much FANG GONG. They really are about relaxing. They're very slow. They're very gentle. As soon as I start doing them, I kind of hypnotize myself. But do you think this move has that got the same flavor? Not to me. It's much more along the spectrum from yin toward yang. I'm not saying it's bad exercise, it's just to me it seems like a different exercise. What they've done is take that exercise and just soften it. Slow it down and soften it. Does this remind you of any of the previous exercises in this series? Yeah, exactly. Jack's indicating bear presses palms. So bear presses palms, you're really coming up, it's from the shoulder to the bottom of the foot. So there is we haven't talked about this. There is a connection between the bottom of your feet and your shoulders. The big acupuncture point, there are many acupuncture points around the ankles and the feet, many. But the big one for our purposes is the Yun Shan, which corresponds to the Lao Gong in the middle of the palm. So if you think of your feet as palms on the floor, which they are, the Yun Shan is the bubbling well. Right? So we might call it the artesian spring. And the artesian springs come up through the body into the shoulder wells, right? Into the place where the shoulders dip down a little bit, which is why you don't want to stand like this, because now your feet are more narrow than the shoulder wells, right? So you want, when you do these exercises, to have a relationship between your shoulders and the bottom of the feet, right? When you're doing bear presses palms, you're basically going up and down that line between your shoulder well and the yin shuan. So you could say, in a sense, the arms and the hands are really not the point. The point is the pumping action between the bottom of the foot and the shoulder. Palm, on, palm, on, right? Palm, on, palm, on. Those two energies. This move we're working on this morning, wind swings willows, right, is much more toward the center of the body, not out toward the shoulder, but toward your own center line. So you hopefully can feel how your center line is a little activated by that. So for me, I definitely am coming up to this area, but actually all the way up to the top of the head, to the Bahue acupuncture point, the crown chakra, and even above that. So the Pung energy doesn't just stop here, it keeps going. Above the head. So if you pay a little attention to what's going on here, you may notice there's a little difference in the energies too. In Bear Press's palms, it's pretty much pure Pung and on. Pung, on. Pung, on. Of course, there's a little Li and a little Lu rather, and a little G mixed in there, but they're so slight that they hardly even count. However, when you're doing this exercise, you can feel your waist turn because you're coming, instead of coming up here, you're coming up all the way over here. That turns your body. That's Lu energy. Pong Lu on Qi. So the energies, all four energies are in both, but in Bear Press's palm, only Pung and On, they're like 98% of everything. And Lu and Ji is like each 1%. Here it's much more balanced. Pung, right, is, you know, maybe 30%, right? And On is 30%, but there's also 20% G and 20%, excuse me, Lu and 20% G. Okay, so is the difference between the two clear? Superficially, from the outside, they look very similar, but they're actually quite different on the inside. Jill, is that clear? Any questions?
My mind is scattered leaves today. So it's as clear as it's ever.
Well, I hope that got mixed into the swirl of the
Yes,
leaves, right?
yes. Bits and pieces are flying.
Catherine, is that clear? Any questions?
Right now, I don't have questions, but I'm sure that if I do it by myself, I will have questions.
Some things
It's
will
not,
come
it's
up.
not easy. I don't find it easy. You said that it's an easy move, but I think it's actually all those moves are quite sophisticated.
I think that's a good word for it. This series, the moves look very, very simple from the outside, and they are from the outside. But if you're paying attention to the inside, there's a lot more going on. And that's really the point of doing this, is what's happening on the inside. Okay, the next move, collect chi to the origin, is a move that we do all the time on Sunday morning. So you take a little bit of a horse stance, and classically, Sunday morning, we do this exercise in three positions: the upper position, the middle position, and the lower position. So heaven, human beings, and earth. However, for this exercise, we're only going to do the middle position. All right. All right. Reach out, and it's like you're gathering. Right? I always think of it as gathering big armloads of wheat, right? When you're harvesting wheat by hand. and you breathe it into the Danshan. Okay, I'm sure it's very plain that this is an exercise for the daimai around the waist. So the danshin would be spinning horizontally, and then the whole daimai should be spinning. Like when I'm going in this direction, it's spinning, let's say counterclockwise, and when I'm going this direction, it's spinning clockwise. And then you can alternate them. You could just do a whole set on one side, but you should always balance it out on the other side. But we do every other so they balance. So that's Lu energy, right? That's energy using your spin on your central pole, your central axis. However, that doesn't mean the other energies are not in there. There are a little bit, but they're very slight, right? Pung, Lu, An, Qi. Pung, An, and Ji are so subtle in this move that it's very easy to overlook them. But they are in there. Right? Pung, Lu, An, Qi. Expand, turn, sink, contract. Expand, turn, sink, contract. If you didn't know those energies were in there, then you might not ever kind of come to the conclusion that they are. But if you recognize that the moves are in there, you will learn an awful lot about Qigong and Tai Chi, because those four energies are in every circle. So when I'm talking about those four energies here and demonstrating them, I have to exaggerate what my physical body is doing a little bit so you will see it. And even with the exaggeration, it's rather subtle. All right? Pum. The Lu is really big. You'll see that. All right? An. Qi. So the outer physical body, it's very subtle. That's what Master Feng used to mean when he would say, if I don't exaggerate this, you will not see it. If you've been doing it for 15 years, yes, you'll see it. but at the beginning, you're not going to see it. But the important thing is that you know it's there, and then you practice the internals. What happens in the outer body is not that important, particularly for Qigong. It's what happens on the inner body that's really important. So what does that mean? This is a great exercise to study this on, because one of the four energies is really prominent. It's really big physically, and wow, you can really feel that. The other three energies are very subtle. And if you don't know, you'll just skip over them and not practice them inside. But now that you know they're there, you can practice them inside. What does it mean? Think about it. Pung is expansion from the center. You're expanding, and you're expanding in every possible direction, right? Pung. You're not going to see much on the outside, but you should feel it on the inside. Pung. Lu, right? Now, on. On is pressing down. But lots of times when you press down in Tai Chi and Qigong, it's not a big movement, right? On. On. If you're doing push hands with someone, very often you can exert on energy without even moving your physical body. On. On. I'm still moving my physical body so you can see it, right? But just put your hand on here. Don't exert any pressure downward. Now exert pressure downward. You can do that with almost no physical body involvement. It's just now the energy starts to flow down. Your mind is pressing down, and the energy flows down too. So you can disrupt someone's energy with the slightest little move. I'm not saying that's the end of the martial application, but it's part of the martial application. Yeah.
Got 15 more minutes?
Yeah, why?
Okay, well, he's got an answer.
Okay, well, do I need to come in and talk?
No, but I would like you to talk to him before he leaves.
Okay. Okay. So our washer's on the fritz, and there's a guy in here looking at it. He needs to talk with me at some point, but we'll finish up here. Okay, so the on energy is coming from here about to your own midline. Right? So my head's gonna disappear, but you can watch the center. Pung. Lu. On. And then G. Wow. Well, the G doesn't look like much at all. It looks like just a continuation of the on. Yeah, that in the outer, hold on, Joe. In the outer physical body, yeah, it doesn't look that different. But something different should be happening in your mind and in your energy body. Right? This is pressing down, pressing down. Now it's condensing back into the center in order then to expand into Pung. Pung, Lu, on, Qi. Yeah, Jill.
I'm just wondering, when you're doing both sides, it seems that you're working with two energies at once, because you're starting Pung energy on one side and the Qi on the other. Is this also?
It's always, you're always
Oh,
working both sides.
right. But what I was wondering though is like, is it this idea of splitting that, or?
Splitting.
Because I guess I'm getting confused with, like how when you're doing things with your dantian where you have to split, where it's like circling in two directions, but I don't think Peng Lu and Qi work that way. They can happen at the same time, but
Splitting, I'm not quite sure what your question is, but I'll talk about that issue. Splitting is actually an energy in and of itself. It's called Leia. Right? Peng Lu Ji Ansai Leia Joka. Right? Leia is splitting. Right? Are you doing different things on each side? Yes, you are, but it's so important in Tai Chi and in Qigong too that it's got its own name. But I mean, look at the move bear presses palms. Palm on palm. It's because we're bilaterally symmetrical. It's like there's a mirror here, and this side mirrors this side, right? So both sides, the two sides, don't have to do the same thing all the time, right? They can do different things. Just like when you learn to play the piano, you can be playing melody with the right hand, and you can be playing a beat with the left hand. They're doing two different things. At least I understand that's theoretically possible. Not that I can do it, but that's what happens. So hold on just a second. All right. Here's a dumbbell. All right. You can think of your Dan Chen as like a dumbbell shape. It can be like that. Or you can think of this as two hemispheres, one left and one right. Each hemisphere can do its own thing. Does that make sense, Joe? Does that address what you were concerned about?
yeah, I guess it's yeah, I guess the what I was wondering is like is so we're always split in a way. Well, I mean, we can be doing the same energy with the same side, but yeah, I'm having trouble explaining where my confusion was.
That's
Is that I was
because
thinking,
you're thinking.
yeah, that's part of the problem.
That's where you went wrong.
I guess, okay, so I think what I was thinking is like when I think of Peng energy, I just think of everything expanding.
Yes.
But I guess it makes sense that it's just like one side would be expanding and the other potentially contracting.
Well, essentially that's what's going on. But you could use a metaphor where, right, everything in the body is expanding, right? And the other arm, everything is turning, right? It's Jill, I'm sort of laughing about this, but the reason I'm laughing is I can remember going through exactly the same phase of trying to fit the pieces of this stuff together. Let me give you some advice about Chinese, because essentially what we're looking at is the Chinese way of looking at things. And let me tell you, it is different than the way we look at things in the United States. We are a rather linear culture, and we're a prose culture. We're a prose culture. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not the way they think. They're a poetic culture. And you can say and do things in poetry that you cannot do in prose, which is what makes poetry so powerful. However, it's more vague. There's a price that you pay for poetry, but there's also something you get for poetry. It's the same for prose. There's a price you pay for prose. You you lose some of the evocation that comes with poetry. Honestly, that's the best way I can think to describe it. All I can tell you is if you keep doing this, eventually you keep working on it. I'm not quite sure how these pieces fit together. You keep working on it, it will eventually clarify itself. Just remember to keep your mind poetic rather than prosodic, right? If that makes any sense.
That makes total sense.
Okay.
Because yeah, the other thing that I've been pondering for a while, and I didn't, there's like Pung energy and like opening, closing, like the thoracic piston. So is that opening, is that Pung energy? I mean, I would assume it's powered by Pung energy.
Yeah, kind of seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left here. Let's go on to the 12th move we're going to look at today. Heaven and earth open and close. This is another exercise we often do in the Sunday morning Hunan Qigong, and we sometimes do it in silk reeling too. And I only got a couple of minutes here, and then I need to go deal with the guy who's here. But it is, I gather in. And reverse. Okay, guys, I need to go talk with this guy. Jack, would you lead the class in that last exercise for a couple of minutes, and then I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay. Heaven and earth, open and close. I only had to remember one.
Wait, is that using Pung energy?
It's using Pung, Lu, An, and G, all four of them. I think. And reverse. Should we go through the whole routine? Or or started
Go,
it?
go.
What's that?
Yes, yes, Jack, let's
Okay,
go.
let's go. Yang Qi clears tension. We were gonna go through the whole thing.
If you want to go through the whole thing, go for it.
Okay,
So I'm going to give you guys a big tip that's going to save you a lot of money. Don't buy LG laundry equipment.
life is good laundry equipment.
Life is good laundry equipment. No, life is cheap laundry equipment. We've had this for 3 years and it's shot and it's not under warranty. So we're going to have to get rid of it. And the guy who came into service is suggesting what's called Speed Queen. That's the stuff that's used commercially in commercial places. He said it's a little more expensive, but it's got a 7-year warranty. So it's like, well, you guys probably realize now, you never really buy anything. You just rent it, right? You rent it for 3 or 4 years until it falls apart.
It's like beer.
Yeah, it's like beer. You don't buy it actually, you just kind of rent it. Okay, so Jack, were you kidding me, or you want to go through the whole thing?
Well, we were just gonna do it I guess till you got back, but whatever, we can.
Actually,
continue.
I
wanna
need to
continue?
go.
Okay,
Jill needs to go. Okay, guys, we'll pick it up then on Monday. If we don't see you before then, have yourself a great weekend. Catherine, you have a comment?
Yeah, Malcolm, would you mind sending me the names of all those moves because I
Yes.
can't find them?
Yes, I'd be happy to send them to you.
Okay.
I
Oh,
will.
that's nice. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Yeah, and
Everybody else got them?
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. And I was also gonna say, I have LG, it came with the house and it's been running fine for 12 years.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
I got totally
We're
lucky,
not.
I know.
We're-
I've heard
we're
bad
not.
things about
Yeah,
LG, so
it's just
sorry.
To me, it's just the way it is. I don't even want to think about it. Just put a new washer in. I don't want to think about it.
All
Okay,
right.
guys,
Take
we'll see you
care.
next time. Ciao.
Ciao.